Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be doing my Elimination Chamber, or more specifically WWE Elimination Chamber, because we always know that we gotta add WWE and stuff. WWE Elimination Chamber predictions, just a tad bit too early in my opinion, but we are going to be doing those predictions today. And actually, in a later date, we're going to be going back and seeing how well these predictions were, and probably gonna more than likely end up being very, very bad, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of these predictions wrong. So if I do get these predictions wrong, don't be mad at me. This is what I think that they're gonna book for Elimination Chamber right now. You can go back and watch the past week's episode of Smackdown or Raw, so you can more likely see my opinion of the way that I would book the Elimination Chamber. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your predictions for Elimination Chamber. And let's say if you're even a little bit late, you can even comment your predictions for WrestleMania, which I already have a video on, which is way too early to predict WrestleMania predictions right now. But you can go ahead and watch that video, and it will be in the link in the description. But let's get to the video finally. Starting off with what I think is opening match, because really every year for the Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble, really a lot of this stuff that happens, that there's two matches between the female and the males, usually they do go with the women's first. So of course, as already been confirmed, the day that I'm recording this video is Super Bowl 2026 day, which is also February 8th. And on the February 6th edition of SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton did beat Chelsea Green and Last Legend. We can automatically put Tiffany Stratton in the mix. And I do think for the next people who will be in the match, first we do have one on Monday Night Raw, but we're not going to do the next one for Monday Night Raw. We're just going to straight on predict the people who's going to win for SmackDown, then the ones who's going to win for Raw. So the triple threat qualifying has already been announced for next week, and it's going to be between Julia, Selena, and Alexa Bliss. I think the one that would make the most sense here is Julia, and I think they do need a pusher. So I would say put Julia in this match, and really make her and Tiffany Stratton battle out in this match to tease their WrestleMania match. Spoiler for the next video, or the past videos that I've done. There's also, I would highly recommend for you to watch in the description before watching the rest of this video, because a lot of this does have to play into the factor of WrestleMania and my predictions for then. Also going to make another video after the Elimination Chamber about my WrestleMania predictions, but let's get back into it. And I do think the next triple threat qualifier is going to be probably Charlotte Flair. I could see her potentially being in the match. I could see maybe Nia Jax being in the match. I would think it would be Charlotte Flair, Nia Jax, and some other person that you could put in there. But I do eventually think that Nia would end up winning this. I do think that it would make the most sense if they would put like maybe a Jordan Grace or somebody in here that they could ultimately give a push to. And if they was to put somebody per se like a Jordan Grace, then I wouldn't mind seeing really any of those people in the match winning. But if it's just like a jobber, like a lower mid carder, we can see them losing to either Charlotte or Nia. But I think if they end up doing this, I think that Nia will end up winning because of the current rivalry that's going on. And I do think that there's going to be a ladder match at WrestleMania, which of course will tie into the WrestleMania predictions. Go back and watch that video last time. I'm not going to say it, but it'll tie into the WrestleMania predictions and tie into a lot of stuff that I have planned for this. So let's get to the Raw side of things. So for the Raw side of things, I do think that they're going to have crazy bangers of matches. Of course, it is Sunday. Usually they announce matches for Raw, but they haven't yet. So I am going to be predicting the qualifying matches for, of course, the women's that I'm fixated to do right now, and for the men's that I'm fixated to do later in this video. So the first match, I do think it is going to end up being Raquel Rodriguez versus we could end up seeing somebody like Io Sky or somebody like that, a big face in the tag team division. Because overall, there's a lot of people in the tag team division, so I could see somebody in the tag team division like that end up being in the match. Really, I don't want to get too ahead with these qualifying matches because we still have the task of putting them in the actual matches, but I do think whoever will end up winning this match will be Raquel Rodriguez. I think that she needs to be pushed to actually win the Elimination Chamber and be in a triple threat with Stephanie Care, Liv Morgan, and herself in the match. I think that would be an incredible match, especially with all of everything that's happened with Judgment Day. So I think that would be a very cool thing to see. But maybe it won't happen. But I do think Raquel will end up being in the Elimination Chamber and maybe even a high favorite to win the Elimination Chamber. On to the next one. So in the next one, I'm not really going to predict anything, but I am going to say maybe like a Roxanne Perez or somebody like this, but I do have ultimately Roxanne Perez win the Elimination Chamber qualifiers. I think that this would be a pretty cool winner of this match. I think it will probably have more of the tag team division in it, like I said before, like maybe a Kairi Sane or somebody like that. And I think next, ultimately, it's going to end up being Rhea Ripley to get the win on the next triple threat on Raw, which could see the potential likes of Asuka, maybe an upper mid Carter, like maybe like a Becky Lynch or a Maxine Dupree or somebody like that. But I do think the ending of it is going to have Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Tiffany Stratton, and Nia Jax. And who do I think is going to win this match? I basically already said it. I do think that some stuff between Roxanne and Raquel is going to happen during this match. And I do ultimately see Raquel winning this match. And if not, I would be perfectly fine with Roxanne winning. I'd really just need a member of the Judgment Day to win this because it would tie in way more with Morgan versus Stephanie the Care at WrestleMania. And it would really ultimately end up being a great match. So let's go into the next match, which I do think is going to be Jade Cargill versus Jordynne Grace. They do have this match happening for Smackdown, and I do end up seeing maybe this ending in like a DQ. The reason why I'm having this at the Chamber is because, the more matches that you really book on this Elimination Chamber means really the most points that you can get on this Elimination Chamber. So we could see this happening, like really I could see this happening on Elimination Chamber, and maybe even Bianca Belair returning so we can see Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania, which is ultimately going to end up being the end goal for WrestleMania. So we can't really complain about that. But next to the next match, I guess, because really there's nothing that's going to happen in this match except maybe Jade getting the win. Maybe even we could see Jordynne Grace getting the win. But it would be perfectly fine if they just had this end in a DQ 2 times because they're trying to treat Jade like a big deal. It's not really reasonable that she hasn't defended her title since she's won it, but she is going to defend it, next week. And I do think those matches that was non-title matches, I do think they should have been for the title because it makes Jade look like a non-big deal when she's supposed to look like a big deal. So it really is weird why they're trying to make her prestigious, why she's supposed to be a powerhouse, and why she's supposed to be the one who dominates the division and the one who puts everybody on the ground, which really should be the character that she's doing. And I feel like they should do that for the next upcoming month before maybe Bianca Belair returns, or maybe, before WrestleMania if Bianca doesn't return. And ultimately, if Bianca doesn't return, Jade's going to keep the title after WrestleMania. But I couldn't see nobody taking the title off of her instead of like a Bianca. If Bianca never comes back, really, who can you see them taking the title off of Jade for? Like, you could see Jordynne Grace maybe. At the same time, it would be kind of weird because we all thought that Jade was gonna be beaten by Bianca. So it is a weird situation that we're in, that maybe she doesn't even return and even get the title shot at WrestleMania. So it's kind of weird with that title right now, but let's get to the next match. And the next match is a little bit difficult in its own right, simply because it's a 50-50 chance. Because, if Jacob Fatu wins the Elimination Chamber qualifier, that means that it's going to end up being Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre at the Elimination Chamber. But if Cody Rhodes ends up winning, that means it's basically a guaranteed chance that it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. There's so many ways that I could end up seeing this match going, and if they wanted to be a little bit different, they could even have Sami Zayn win the qualifying match, and then have Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu. But in this standards, I am saying that it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes at Elimination Chamber. And I know we saw it a lot of times, but I think we're going to get it one more time, and it's going to be good at the Elimination Chamber. And I know that does spoil a lot of matches, but I'm going to get to that later instead of now. So let's get to the next match. Now, with this show, I can see a lot of matches, and there's one championship missing. And I think that's unfair, because CM Punk's world title I'm going to have later in this video and probably the next upcoming match. But it's really unfair to the Women's World Championship, because it's going to more likely end up being left off of this card. So I'm going to just take the L with this, and I am going to say that it is going to be Stephanie Vaquer versus somebody like maybe a Becky Lynch, or I'm really just thinking this off of the brain because it's a bonus one. So I'm gonna just end up saying it. Stephanie Vaquer versus Roxanne Perez. And I know Roxanne's in the Elimination Chamber match, but like I said, this is a little bonus match because I didn't feel right leaving this match off of the card. Now the next match, sorry that it's a little bit echoey, I know the audio's off right now, but the next match is CM Punk versus Finn Balor. I do think that CM Punk would definitely be defending because it's in his homeland of Chicago. I really do hope that they definitely put CM Punk on this card. I think that would be really cool, since he's from Chicago and is like homeland, home skate, and whatever. Because they had Finn Balor's match in Ireland, which is Finn Balor's home country, and it's gonna be CM Punk's home state in the country of United States. So that's gonna be pretty cool. But I do think that this is gonna be an incredible match. Like the first one, it was an incredible main event, an incredible crowd experience, especially with him coming out to his original theme, everyone thinking that he's gonna turn face and everything. So I do think that Roman won't be involved in this match, and I do think that there's gonna be a lot of stuff building up to this match. So yeah. And let's get to the next match. And the next match is the men's elimination chamber match. Of course, already confirmed, Randy Orton, and of course from the Smackdown things, predicted it earlier, Jacob Fatu is going to be in the elimination chamber. And another random guy from Smackdown that I have to say will be in here is going to be Royce Keys. I think that he's going to make his debut next week on SmackDown, and I think he's going to make a big impact, just like another person who is going to be in the Elimination Chamber qualifiers, which I do think is going to be in here maybe not this week, but next week or the week before that. Not really doing too much stuff for like the Raw side of things and all that stuff. But I do think Femi is going to win the qualifiers for Raw. Two other people that I can name off the top of my head, which I would say would make the most sense for Monday Night Raw, would probably end up being Dominic Mysterio and Braun Breaker, because I do potentially see Seth Rollins coming out. And even though that it was Grayson Waller that attacked Braun Breaker, they're going to try and name it that as Seth Rollins anyways. So I think that that's going to be interesting, leading up into another WrestleMania match, Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker, which also, if you forgot, which I'm sure you didn't because I said it a lot of times, and I said it was going to be the last time, like, 3 minutes ago. But there is WrestleMania predictions in the link in the description, so go ahead and watch that. I'm telling you for the last time, go ahead and watch that. But this is my official Elimination Chamber predictions. I hope y'all loved it. There will be a Raw review either today, tomorrow, or maybe Wednesday. I do have a video that's going to be dropping Wednesday with a friend of mine. Maybe Thursday. We're probably going to end up doing like 2 videos, but there's going to be a lot of videos discussing us, WWE and AEW. We're going to be doing a lot of those. Sorry for the little audio mishap. I had a lot of family in the background since I am recording this on the day of the Super Bowl. So, without further ado, peace.